All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and non-binaries. I salute you. This is Oliver here at Studio 72, People's Republic of Multnomah County. It's the 29th of March, 2023, and just doing a little more thinking about the Christian school massacre in Nashville, Tennessee. Audrey Hale. There was just a few things that I wanted to say about it, and it's so difficult to condense these things into these brief little 2-minute clips or even a 15-minute video. But I've got a whole bunch of stuff here I want to talk about, but I don't want to ramble and I don't want to babble on, but I do want to present some ideas and some thoughts. So this is going to be just a brief kind of like introduction. And so one of the things that I want to say here, now, I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not giving medical advice. I have studied psychology, and I've worked with, even more important, I've worked with at-risk mental health issues, at-risk youth for years. So, I mean, I was a crisis counselor. I actually counseled. I had clients that killed themselves. I had clients that survived. And so what's kind of interesting about this Audrey Hale case, or sociopath, is that she was a troubled teen, which is something I have extensive experience with. Also a graduate of art college, which at 50 years old, I've been painting since I was 10, but professionally for 30 years. I've been selling artwork for a long time. And I also had art collectives where I would work with artists in a professional art collective setting where I was the curator. That was the title I used. It is what the curator. I just love the way that sounds. I'm not even sure what it means. You're curating things. It sounds really cool. But it was something that I did and I've always had interest in, but I saw a lot of artists with mental health issues. I saw a lot of people go into art to try to analyze what's going on, much like psychologists and psychiatrists. I mean, you'll see some of these people that are interested in psychology, and they tend to have a lot more issues than the average person. They're interested in what's going wrong, and they want to fix it. And these are just my perspectives, again. So, but it's something, and we have to accept at some point when we're talking about these things that there is generalizations, and it doesn't make us transphobic. It doesn't make us racist or xenophobic to talk about the open border and we have drug cartels massacring and kidnapping our people. That's not xenophobia. Those are facts. It's facts to talk about certain clusters of urban cities are plagued with massive crime. Now, obviously, if you're committing crimes, you're not mentally healthy. Can we agree on that? When you go out to go shoot Christian children, you're not healthy. The system failed you. And what's interesting with Hale is that she was under doctor's care, probably most of her teenage life into now she's almost 30, 3 decades of struggling and maintaining, and she was alive to that point. So she had some success. To be alive is what I would deem success in that sense. But there's another thing that we have to come to common ground on of understanding is that these are complex things. When I post, oh, it's a borderline personality, it's clearly a personality disorder when you're killing people. See? So, but the clinical brain and the programming of the medical institution, it wants to say certain things are only one way. And we have to break through those boundaries. We break out of those little boxes, and we have these epiphanies of science. This is our history. They are wrong about most of the shit in the past, right? So I'm not saying that I haven't figured anything out. I'm just, I'm here with the, as Columbo doing investigating with the medical type of thing. So, see, I'm 5 minutes in and I really didn't even get to the crux of what I wanted to say. I want to condense it into narcissism personality disorder. When I just mentioned someone's got a personality disorder, that got lit up on social media. My post, it was like people were coming kind of unglued. Well, you're not a doctor, and you could tell that some of these people were in the field. They had at least studied coursework or probably nurses. I mean, nurses have just as much education as doctors. I don't know why we keep saying, well, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what I'm talking about. The doctors have been wrong about just about everything for 3 years. Let that sink in. Please. Doctors, the quality of medical professionals is not good. And I'm being nice. It's not good. Now, I'm not blaming her medical team, although I would like to know who the doctor is, and I would like to know what kind of medications they're on. And there's a whole cornucopia, a box that's opened when you start talking about medications. Everyone wants to come to snap judgments and say, oh, it's psychotropics, it was SSRIs, and it was this one and that one, and boop, 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 boop. Well, there's side effects with all medications. And there's arguments to be made that maybe some medications kept her alive till 28, almost 30. Or maybe there was some side effects. Maybe she stopped taking medications. That's what people do. People, when they're self-medicating, hopefully they'll have moments of wellness, of clarity and detox. Hopefully. Sometimes people don't, and they just die. They just keep go, and then they're dead. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of that right now. 200,000 people died from overdoses, mainly because the border's open. But even with the border completely secured, we're still going to have smugglers bringing dope in. And we're still going to have people with mental health issues that are self-medicating. Right? Right. So the narcissistic personality, narcissism is way overused. I didn't realize the magnitude of it, even after taking child psychology courses and all of that, studies where I was reading Gabor Mate, the psychiatrist. He's got a couple of books in the realm of Hungry Ghosts talking about addiction, so he's talking about a whole bunch of different stuff. So I've read a lot of it, but I didn't really understand the magnitude. Narcissist, it's like you hear that and it's kind of like, well, you're stuck up. He's a snob. Oh, he's self-absorbed. He's just a rich elitist. All these things that people have been attacking President Trump, for example, or other leaders as well. Really, anybody that's in politics in front of the cameras, there's got to be like a wee bit of self-importance. Now, there's lots of varying degrees of narcissism. There's lots of varying degrees of mental illness and mental health issues. We all have mental health issues. Everyone. They're not disabling for most people. It doesn't require them to not be able to work, or they get fired from jobs. It doesn't affect everyone like that. But who hasn't been depressed? My God. And who hasn't had massive anxiety disorders that have been triggered from the programming and the messaging those last 3 years of the SARS-2 and the COVID-19 pandemic? It was used as a political coup that damaged tens of millions, if not 100 million people's brains, where they think they're going to die. They're being told you are going to die from a virus. Hug your loved ones, or you can't even hug your loved ones. You're going to die from a virus alone. That's what they told us. You got loved ones dead in the hospital, or not quite dead. You got loved ones in the hospital that are about ready to die. You can't see them. You can't hug them. You can't hold their hand. You can't do anything. Sorry. Thanks, Doc. That's this wonderful medical advice that all you, trying to be nice, ding-dongs keep saying that, oh, you're not a doctor. You don't know what borderline is. That creates stigma. You use the BPD, you use borderline portal, it's so casually imposed. It's going to create a stigma, and people aren't going to get help. Yes, that's true, lady. You're right. Everything that you countered, I agree with you. Couple of posts that I referenced of some studies, just random studies. I'm going through all the studies like we all are, or like you are. At least people in the field that are studying it. It's like, what? You know, it's the post-mortem that's missing in America. It's the post-mortem analysis that's the most crucial of these bloodbaths. It's the most crucial to be proactive in preventing more of them, because we're going to see more of this as time goes unless we do some serious changes. Now, clearly, whatever regimen and protocol and medications that Audrey Hall was on, one of the CNNs had her as Hall, and I'm like, oh, see. But there's a couple of other good CNN articles here, and and CNN, it's like, my God. But listen, the source, you glean what is there. It's called gleaning. You just come in and you pick it. You have to see the truths and use critical analysis and critical thinking to see what that is. The personality disorders in my world, instead of arguing online with people that are way overeducated and probably $100,000 in debt from medical educations, right? I know some people very close in my world. I don't talk to them right now, but deep in debt and battling all kinds of different issues, personality disorders. So in my world, they're connected. And there's different pieces of the puzzle. You don't just say, oh, she's BPD and you're going to create a stigma. You think someone with purple hair and piercings in their eyebrows and noses and lips, you think they really fucking care about stigma and what you think about them? Maybe, because narcissists are like totally self-absorbed. But this overview here, this is mayoclinic.org. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition. Mental health. So we got to quit saying, oh, Orange Man's is a narcissist because he's out in front of the cameras and he thinks he's got the way and he's just got so much damn confidence. Any white male or orange male with confidence is clearly a narcissist. No. No. And just because you got purple hair and piercings doesn't mean you're batshit crazy. You might just be an artist, and we call that marketing, right? So I'm not taking those hard, but I am making some generalizations. And the term narcissist, this extreme self-love, it's connected to the lack of empathy. We can all agree on that when you go into a Christian school to shoot up 9-year-olds, rest in peace, Miss Scruggs. Beautiful little Scruggs girl. I think it was Haley, but I remember the last name just because I remember names like that. You don't do that unless you don't have empathy. It's not just a severe allergic reaction to your new SSRI blockers or some other whatever combo of whatever the fuck. It's not just that. It's piecework. So you've got this narcissistic personality disorder where she clearly crossed over into a homicidal, sociopathic. I don't give a fuck about any of you people in the church. I don't give a fuck about any of you kids in the church anymore. Pow, pow, pow. Pow, 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 pow. I'm Audrey Hale. Hear me roar. Right? That's the kind of sick shit that's going through their minds. And it's not just hers. There is, what concerns me the most is this collective unconscious. There is a collective whole of this militant, trans, antisocial, really sociopathic behavior. Look at this Georgia cop city. These people were shooting at police. One of them got killed in a gun battle. They're calling themselves activists? No. You're a sociopath if you're shooting at police. They had ambushes full of spikes and nails and things to blow up police or anybody coming onto the property to do the work. That's sick shit. I'm reading tweets from, I don't want to call out a bunch of people that I've worked with in the past saying, wow, you kids are doing great work. We stand with you. And it's like, you stand with Cop City? You're trying to kill police. It's your manifesto. You want to kill people? No, we're not standing with people that we don't encourage. In this last 3 years, longer than 3, but the summer of love, 2020, the Democrats and the policy has been to encourage the coup because they manipulated and used that as a political measure. That's a huge fuck up. And when you program youth, you can't just unprogram that youth, especially if they're autistic, have personality disorders, narcissist disorders, don't have empathy. They want to die, but okay, then go blow your brains out. Go kill yourself. I don't want you to. Okay, I spent most of my life talking people out of killing themselves. I haven't always been successful, but I have talked a lot of people out of killing themselves. Okay, I'm not trying to take credit. I'm just saying, it is what it is. I don't want you to go do that. But if you're having those thoughts, and you're so depressed, and you're so fucked up in your headspace, then you have a right to die. You have a right to kill yourself if that's what you got to do. I don't want that. But go do that if you have to. You don't go in to a Christian school and shoot up beautiful 9-year-old Christian children. Christian children lives matter. Protect Christian kids. We've had this weird swing where the Democrats, lack of better words, liberals, neoliberal, whatever you want to call this, they're voting blue no matter who, Democrats, this messaging that it's save trans kids and with knives on the t-shirt, guns, right? I had Twitter, somebody complained on Twitter, and I had several memes and pictures that I posted. Nothing was inciting violence in what I did, but I got tripped up in the algorithm. And I removed a couple of them. I agreed to, and then I'm challenging a couple of others. So I can't use Twitter until that is either resolved. And I'm just trying to make a statement challenging that what's the difference between showing a meme of a liberal with a gun and a screenshot of their ideology and what they want to do to cis Christian people. This hatred against Christians is not healthy. And fantasizing, encouraging other people to go shoot and kill Christians is really fucked up. And we got to step up right now and correct that. Say stop, full stop. Democrats, Republicans, libertarians, liberals, conservatives of all kinds. Violence is not the way. And with all of the framing of these far-right lunatics and maniacs and these insurrectionists, all bullshit, all this crap that they framed in these, they're coming to kill you. And you got even Chunky Yogurt there saying, I want all the trans. Just a couple days ago before the shooting, Chunk Yogurt is telling the trans to armor up because they're coming to kill you. What the fuck are you doing? You don't tell people that people are coming to kill them. That's fucked up. And this programming that's happening, it's backfiring, and it's just begun. It's just begun. I mean, you know, whether you're a psychic gypsy palm reader, or you're into astrology, or you follow algorithms and patterns like I do, we've got next in a week, we've got a full moon, religious holy days, Passover, Easter weekend, next weekend, with the full moon in Scorpio. So we know that the jails get filled up on full moons, the hospitals get filled up on full moons. People kind of start losing their shit a little more than normal when that gravitational pull is affecting the electromagnetic blood in our brains and body. And how about mRNA? How about these experimental gene therapies? I mean, I bet Miss Hale was fully jabbed and probably triple, quadruple boosted, I'm guessing. What's the vax status on that one? And because we're now looking at the demographics of the most heavily jabbed and boosted demographics are the Democrats. More Americans who are conservative, identify what's conservative, or non-affiliated with the party, but conservative patriots, were more skeptical and questioned these experimental jabs. So if that's the big demographics, the most high risk on psychotropics and dealing with narcissistic personality disorders, borderline personality disorders, clicking into even harsher homicidal sociopathic behavior where you're just shooting randomly at nightclubs, that's not healthy. Why has the Democrat leadership neglected the mental health services to all these youth for so many years? It's a huge part of the problem. So there's all kinds of different therapeutic type of things. I'm not a huge hater of psychotropic. I've seen psychotropic drugs actually help and I think save people in the short term. They're not designed for long term, but that's really not the way to go about it. And it's not really what I would recommend for anybody that's feeling fucked up. I think I'm leaning more towards studying some of this cubensis and some of these psychedelics, because they're actually now, psychedelics promote neuroplasticity through the activation of intracellular 5-HT2A receptors, the dendrites in the brain. So there are a lot of different studies that have been done on this that I'm just now deep diving on some of this data. A couple different doctors, Dr. Mobeen, he did something a few days ago, and I got a whole bunch of links from him. Really, really good links. It's so funny because he's talking about, he goes, I've never done any of these mushrooms. I don't know. I've never done any hallucinogenics. But he's speaking and saying exactly what they do in repairing the neurotransmitters and the dendrites. He's a kind of an artist guy too, this Mobeen. And I don't have a link for him. I'll have to, now that I mention him, I'll have to put a link in it. But he's doing his little charts where he's drawing his receptors and the dendrites, and he's saying, this is how we know now. We didn't understand how exactly psychedelics were affecting the brain and improving people's deep depression, getting people off of narcotics, getting people out of long-term alcoholism. I've seen a lot of that. I used to be a heavy drinker, and I think that cubensis was a huge factor in my whole, but it wasn't just cubensis. It was the meditation, it's the vision quest, it's the entire sweat in the wigwam, the entire ceremony. The entire ceremony, always on a full moon. Native American First Nations, always on a full moon, do the sweat lodge. And the vision quest would be the ayahuasca. And some of these articles, they're talking about data it's been so suppressed for so long. And then the other thing I'm noticing is, and I see, is that people are immediately like, oh, MK Ultra, MK, oh God, hallucinogenics, oh, CIA, MK, you've been MK Ultra, oh, you suffered the CIA MK Ultra? And I'm like, no, I didn't suffer any fucking MK Ultra. Everyone is being mind control ultra'd. Everyone is being MK Ultra'd. For years, we've been through medications and psychological operations, telling someone for 2 years that they're going to die from a mysterious invisible virus is MK Ultra. If you didn't know, that's the programming, the fear and the anxiety. And when people get to that heightened state, they'll do anything. They'll take medications that will kill you because they're already thinking that they're going to die. 25 minutes. All right. I'm done. So I just wanted to kind of connect the emotional. They say that she had an emotional disorder. You know, a lady wants to argue with me about what borderline personality disorder and the stigma. The stigma. Yes, I know that. I'm very aware of that. I have family. I have family that is deep, deep in narcissistic. They don't know. That's the hardest thing, is that they'll never admit it. They're not aware that they're in this psychosis. They're in this mental health bubble. Narcissists don't know. They can't think outside of their own me, me, me. Me, 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 me. I'm depressed. I got a $50,000 in art loans, and I'm not doing art, and I'm not selling art, and I feel fucked up, and I'm depressed, and I'm living with my mom and dad. This is Hale, Audrey Hale. Apparently, she wrote all this stuff down in a journal. We should really read it. She had a manifesto they're trying to suppress. We should really read it. We need that post-mortem diagnosis. We need that analysis. And I know it's being blocked because of HIPAA, the federal laws, all this protection. We can't talk about batshit crazy people when they do batshit crazy stuff because they're protected by batshit crazy HIPAA laws. That's how we got here. And I do respect people's privacy. People need to be able to go get help and know that it's not going to be exposed at the company picnic and they're fired, or whatever, wherever it is. Prevent them from running for office. I mean, Jesus, can you imagine how many politicians are probably narcissistic, borderline personality disorders? Who knows if they've been diagnosed? Because that's the other thing. A lot of people, they're not diagnosed. They're not diagnosed. So anyway, I did a little bit on the therapeutics, the light therapy. I mean, people that are depressed, they're talking about high intensity for half an hour or an hour in the morning with light therapy, full spectrum, blue and red. I've got another study of that right here. That's actually been there for a couple of months. I've been wanting to do a quick video on that. But they say it improves. I don't know the exact numbers, what they did with the study, but it's huge. It's like half of the people weren't depressed anymore. I mean, it's fucking big. You know, just a simple regimen of blue and red lights. I've got them because plants, to grow, need that blue and red spectrum. That's full spectrum. Blue wavelength, red wavelength, full spectrum. Or yellow, the whole spectrum. You can buy those lights. They're very cheap. The LED, it's like $20. I mean, you can get light boxes for $1,000, or I found a couple cheaper ones for like $200, $300. You can drop money on it, but you don't have to. So that light therapy, if we can do light therapy, you don't need psychotropics. You don't even need the wigwam with the Cubensis Vision Quest, although I do recommend that. I really do. It'll change your life forever. But you don't need that. You could just start with some of these healthy things. Diet, lifestyle, people around you, new friend, if you can find them. It's hard to find friends when everyone's been so isolated. That's really a part of the biggest damage, and they talk about this in the diagnosis. You know, with the personality disorder, the antisocial, ASPD, you know, antisocial personality disorder. They got all this shit in the fucking DSM books. I think it needs to be revamped. I actually think that gender dysphoria is obvious. It's clear to me. I'm not a doctor. I don't need to be a fucking doctor to read the studies. It is a personality disorder. If you don't know whether you're a male or a female, or switching back and forth, or non-binary, you're in a personality disorder. you don't know who you are. And that's very unsettling for most people. You know, some people might get off on it, and then other people are being programmed and radicalized, saying, hey, this is politics, and you're not a bad person, you're not sick, there's no mental illness, you are just fucking give it to the man. We're gonna smash patriarch. Smash! Fuck those Nazis! Punch those Nazis! Boo, 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 boo. It's like, whoa, dude. Whoa, dude. You're going to get us right into a totalitarian state. And that's what it looks like we're getting slipped into. If we're not already, we are there, but it's going to get worse to where we don't even have freedom to travel. And forced medications and forced jabs of things that are sterilizing our children. No joke. So, 30 minutes, way longer than I wanted to do. That's too long of an upload. So I wanted to condense something shorter. But the amount of data, if I were to go over through the 10 links I have, I would need like 3 hours, and it's a boring, long, drawn-out workshop. So what I'm going to try to do is condense. There's so much data and science that it's just like, and my brain is like a wildfire. I'm just like, I'm all over. That's my artist way. That's the abstract. That's the Jackson Pollock in me that comes out, where it's like, it's just free flow. But that's good for me. It feels good to get that out. But what I'm saying is that is not how you want to present a 3 hour. You can't just ramble and spray for 3 hours. But nobody wants to listen to fucking anything for 3 hours. They don't even want to listen to it for 10 minutes. Nobody will ever make it through this 30-minute. And what did I actually say? I gave some opinions. I gave some therapeutics. I gave some analysis. Gender dysphoria is a borderline personality disorder. And there's other clusters that can be connected to our issues. Not just depression, not just severe anxiety. It can actually go into sociopathic behaviors. When you think that Christians need to die, you're not well. You're lost. You've been misdirected. And religious people will say that you're being led by the dark side, whether you want to call it Beelzebub or Satan or the devil or dark spirits. I believe in the spirit world, and the spirit world means there's good spirits, and then there's some mofos. And you have to protect yourself. And that's a part of sage, cleansing, wigwam, steam saunas. Purify. Not only our body, but our mind and our heart and our soul. So God bless. I'm going to try to condense this. I'm going to try again, and maybe not right now, but like maybe tomorrow or maybe later. Try to condense it into a quick snap of my point, that the DSM trying to separate personality disorder from sociopathic from this, it's not little separate groups. It's when we're dealing with mental health, it's a whole, it's a holistic big picture. And if you want to erase the stigma, we all have mental health issues. Everybody. I don't care who you are, especially the doctors. My God. I could tell you some stories of people that I've, especially ladies that I've had in my life, where it's just like, oh my God, you know, you've got patience? Oh my God. Not good. But listen, I digress. Peace out, man. Peace out. You got to take care of your head, and that means doing a whole series of things you may not be ready for, but we got to get out of that group think. Let's stop talking about killing Christians or killing anybody, right? Peace out.